Police arrest 3 in St. Catherine following seizure of gun and ammunition. A teenage girl is among 3 people who were arrested in connection with 2 separate gun and ammunition seizures in St. Catherine on Friday. 18-year-old Patton Israel, otherwise called Baby, of Old Harbour St. Catherine was charged with unauthorized possession of ammunition following an operation by members of the Area 5 Fugitive Apprehensive Team. It reported that about 5:30 a.m., the Area 5 Fugitive Apprehensive Team personnel went in search of a gunman, and while at the dwelling, they encountered Israel inside a back room. The police say 2 7.62 rounds were discovered inside a pair of sneakers in the house. Israel was arrested and later formally charged. A court date is being finalized for her appearance. Meanwhile, detectives assigned to the St. Catherine South Division arrested 2 men in connection with the seizure of an illegal gun and ammunition in the rural community of Bartons in the parish. Reports are that about 7:15 a.m., the police conducted an operation in the community, and during the search of a premises, a 9mm pistol and 22 assorted rounds were seized. The police say the identities of the 2 suspects are being withheld pending further investigation into the matter. Minor earthquake rocks Jamaica. The earthquake unit at the University of the West Indies Mona has confirmed that a minor earthquake with a magnitude of 4.2 was felt across several parishes of Jamaica on Sunday. The epicenter was located 8 kilometers south of Buff Bay, Portland. There were reports of the tremor being felt in St. Catherine, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Box from a bed. For one man, a cardboard box in downtown Kingston was home for several months. Rain or shine, only a discarded plastic wrap from a mattress cover, his box is provided additional protection from the elements. His bathroom was the rushing waves of Kingston Harbor. Once a week, he would receive a meal from charitable organizations that fed the homeless, and he had to be strategic when consuming each portion because there was no guarantee when his next meal would be. With no source of income, the now 63-year-old man lived in absolute poverty. Speaking with reporters ahead of International Day for the Eradication of Poverty last Friday, the man who shared his story on condition of not being named said that he's turned his life around and now assists as many as more than 3,000 homeless people living on the streets whenever he can. His life changed when he found refuge at the Missionaries of Poor-operated the Lord's Place in central Kingston in 2003, a sanctuary for those who are sick, in poverty, and in fear of violence. Now the man has his own roof over his head, clothes on his back, and a steady job in the landscaping space that allows him to be independent. He told reporters that he also does maintenance work at the Lord's Place partly to repay the missionaries of the Poor Brothers for the kindness they extended to him for the 6 years he spent there after living in absolute poverty. Earlier this year, the Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness announced that government's intention to totally eradicate absolute poverty, which is the lack of sufficient financial resources or necessities for survival, including food, clean water, shelter, and health care, as a component of Jamaica's new national mission. In May this year, the Planning Institute of Jamaica reported that Jamaica reduced its absolute poverty rate to a historic low of 8.2% in 2023, down from 16.7% in 2021. Last week, the man who spoke with reporters shared that his unfortunate situation stemmed from reckless life choices that led to HIV diagnosis in 2002. A skilled laborer, his life spiraled out of control when the severity of his condition prevented him from working and money ran dry. He was diagnosed with HIV 2 years before Jamaica made HIV medication more accessible and free for the public in September 2004 through support from the Global Fund. So at the time, he could not afford proper treatment. His relatives became scarce, and before he knew it, he was without food, water, clothing, and a place to call home. When you have those sicknesses in those days, people scorn you. They don't want you to touch them. You can't touch anything for them. I had to just be out there on my own and fight. When the sickness took me, if I had stayed out of there a little bit longer, I would have died because I wasn't on any medication. Rain fell, the sun shone, and everything reached me at the same time, he recounted. Tearful nights became the norm for him. Many nights I would lie down and cry that this is where I am. It was a tough journey. It was rough out there, so anybody I see out there now, and I know they're in those situations, I explain that I know what they are going through. If I can pass by and give them something to eat, I give them, because that was my experience when I was out there with them, he said, with a sigh as he recalled the struggles of his past. He shared that, with no one willing to help him, he lived on the street for months and had to make the best of the resources he had around him. I had to get a big plastic bag that a mattress comes in and put it over the cardboard box and go into that box, lie down and sleep. Mosquitoes would bite me, ants would bite me, and nobody would come to knock me up and say, "Come, let me carry you on my yard," because of the condition that I was in and with my sickness. People wouldn't carry me to their yard like that, he said, his voice filled with emotion. I didn't have any toilet to use. I had to hide in a corner, go down by the seaside, and all those things, and then people would stone me. It was embarrassing and I struggled. It wasn't a pretty look. It did ugly, he added. The man said occasionally family members would visit him and bring supplies, but eventually the visit became fewer, and he assumed that they no longer cared to see him on the streets. However, his luck changed when someone recommended that he seek help from missionaries of the poor. He met with Brother Noel, who is in charge of answering the calls for people in poverty who needed assistance. For 6 years, the man said he stayed at the Lord's place and was able to turn his life around. Hot meals 3 times a day became his new reality, along with regular bath, access to HIV medicine, and most importantly, a safe place to lay his head. It was a joy there with the brothers. If I sit down too long, they would ask me, "You want some tea?" Or, "Are you feeling hungry?" They were always there with me. I was comfortable. They took me to the hospital and I got my treatment free, my medication free. I had no problem with anybody, he told reporters. When his health improved, the man shared that he got landscaping jobs and found a one-bedroom that he could rent. By the time the Ministry of Health had made HIV medication more accessible, and the brothers referred him to clinics where he could receive treatment, he was finally able to stand on his own. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I'm telling you the truth. I was sick and in a critical condition, and they made me strong. So I give thanks to the founder of Missionaries of the Poor, Father Richard Holong, and all the brother missionaries. I am independent now. I can give back now and help whoever I want to help, buy them a bread or whatever and a juice. Sometimes, when I don't have it, I ask the brothers and they give it to me, he said, his voice filled with gratitude. Rum water and a good wife. At 100 years old, Caleb Hudson is surrounded by love, laughter, and 4 generations of family. A God-fearing man who described his life journey as a blessing. He wanted all his family members to celebrate his century in the house of God. They obliged. It was a touching moment, Hudson told reporters. I planned this event and let them know that I would be here for my 100th birthday celebration, and I want all of them to be at church with me. They did fulfill my heart's wish, and I'm grateful for this. On Sunday, October 11, there was a special service at the Savannah Mar Seventh-day Adventist Church in Burn Savannah, led by his grandson, Marley Skeen, who served as sponsor for the occasion. That was just one of the events for the Hudson's family, staged over a 3-day weekend to honor their patriarch. On Sunday, October 12, there was a family dinner at Sean Lavery Faith Hall in Savannah Lamar, and on Monday, October 13, on Hudson's birthday, there was a grand celebration at the family's residence in Bamboo District, Burn Savannah, Westmoreland. Family has always been the foundation of Hudson's life. He is the proud father of 6 children, 28 grandchildren, and 20 great-grandchildren. It's a blessing and a very emotional time for the family. He is still strong and active, his daughter Ingrid Hudson shared with reporters. The Centenarian, born in the quiet community of Woodsville, Hanover, described his life journey simply as a blessing. Born to Elizabeth and Caleb Alexander Hudson, the founder of the First Seventh-day Adventist Church in their community, Caleb Hudson is the 6th of 13 children. He has outlived all his siblings, standing strong and spirited. He attended Pondside Elementary School in Hanover, where he quickly became known for his leadership skills and musical talent, winning numerous trophies as choir director. He still has fonded his memory of his childhood. He loved to sing, play dominoes, and explore Mayfield Falls, which ran through the family's property. As a young man, Hudson worked at foam sugar factory as a tractor operator, a job he took with great pride in doing. A doctor warned him years ago that his work may affect his hearing, a prediction that came true in his later years. I had no sickness, Hudson told reporters, just a little pain in the knee every now and then, and my ears lazy at times. When asked about the secret of his longevity, he replied, with a mischievous grin, rum and water and a good wife. But beyond humor, his advice to younger generation carries deep wisdom. Give your life to Christ while you're still young, Hudson urged. Looking back, he says what makes him most proud is being from a blessed Christian-filled family and living long enough to see his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren grow. As he reflects on centuries of life, Hudson has one message for the people of Jamaica: put God first and never stop praying and believing. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.